I was looking for a photo of me and Grandpa when suddenly I heard someone approaching. I quickly hid inside the closet, just in time before the girl saw me. Her name is Adrian, and this is her room. I remained perfectly still in the closet when, without warning, she began to undress. I was flinched, and I think that she noticed it. However, I didn't expect what she did next. I bet you were wondering how I ended up in her closet. It started a few days ago. I am a new reporter in town, and while searching for a good apartment to stay in, I almost hit Adrian with my car. She simply looked at me, then continued skating as if nothing happened. I liked the last guest house I visited and decided to rent it. By chance, I later found out from my landlord, Liv, that the girl I almost ran over was actually her daughter. The next day, while I was moving my things in, Adrian secretly watched me. Her friend Cheyenne arrived, and Adrian asked her to check out the new tenant. Cheyenne came over and briefly talked to me. She seemed to think I was kind, but later she told Adrian that I was too old for them. The following day, I started my new job and was assigned to investigate Robert, a politician who had embezzled $2 million. During the meeting, my coworker Amy tried to flirt with me. That afternoon, while I was preparing my car for a paint job, Adrian approached me, and our conversation felt oddly personal. A few days later, I got an important lead on Robert's case and spent the night working on my report. While I was focused on my work, Adrian came by and commented on how serious I looked. I let her inside, and she listened as I talked about the case. At some point, I asked her how old she was. She answered, 14. The next morning, while I was showering, I realized someone had entered my place. It was Adrian. She noticed a childhood photo of me and my grandfather and asked if she could have it, but I refused. As I finished getting dressed, she lingered around the doorway. When I came out, she handed me a pair of sunglasses and invited me to a party at their house that evening. At work, I discovered that someone had altered my report on Robert's case. I told Michael that I needed to review it, but he insisted there was no need since the report was already flawless. That night, I went to the party at Adrian's house and was warmly welcomed by her parents. Later, Adrian played the piano, and I was impressed by how good she was. I spoke with her outside afterward, and she admitted that she was the one who edited my report. When I asked why, she said she only wanted to help so I would like her. She then asked me to take her somewhere because she wanted to show me something. I agreed, and we went to a lighthouse. There, she apologized for interfering with my work and promised not to do it again. She said she struggled to make friends because people thought she was strange. I told her we could be friends. When the moment crossed a line, I pulled away and left, going home to clear my head and forget what had happened. The next morning, I looked out the window and saw Adrian outside. A moment later, she ran up to greet me, but became visibly upset when she saw that I wasn't alone and that Amy was with me. The following day, I hosted a party at my place. When Michael arrived, he praised the article I had written and told me that Robert wanted to give me a personal interview. While Amy was outside gathering firewood for marshmallows, she nearly stumbled into a beehive. Adrian startled her and warned her that the bees were highly territorial. Later, Amy told me she found Adrian a bit strange and suspected she had feelings for me. I brushed it off, insisting that Adrian was just a child. The next day, while I was busy working on my report, Adrian kept calling me. I asked if she had taken the photo of me and my grandfather, but she denied it. Feeling uneasy, I decided to sneak into her house to look for it. I checked her room, but couldn't find the photo. Instead, I found a pillow embroidered with both of our initials. Hearing someone approaching, I quickly hid inside the closet. When she started undressing, I jolted and Adrian seemed to notice it. But instead of running away, she faced the closet and continued. When she headed into the bathroom, I took the chance to escape, only to ran straight into her father, Cliff. Thinking fast, I told him I was returning a book Adrian had lent me. Thankfully, he believed me. Cliff then asked me to help carry groceries up to the attic. While we were there, I noticed a merry-go-round. He told me he bought it for Adrian and admitted that now that she was growing up, he feared the day she would have a boyfriend. The conversation made me uncomfortable. When Adrian arrived, my anxiety only increased. I tried to excuse myself, but before I could leave, Cliff asked her what book she had lent me. Adrian played along and confirmed my story. The next day, I confronted Adrian and told her that I liked her, but only as a friend. She brought up what had happened between us before, but I told her it was a mistake. She challenged me, accusing me of mixed signals, leaving me speechless. When the conversation crossed a line, I shut it down immediately and made it clear that nothing like that could ever happen because she was too young. She only laughed it off, swinging lazily on her hammock. The following day, I showed Amy my newly painted car, only to discover scratches on it. I reported it to Cliff and Liv, but they refused to believe Adrian would do such a thing. When Cliff asked her directly, she calmly said she had no reason to damage my car. Later, as I was covering the scratches with tape, Cheyenne approached me and said she knew something important about Adrian. She insisted we talk that night. From her bedroom window, Adrian watched us, clearly upset. Later that day, Adrian tampered with Cheyenne's horse without anyone noticing. During practice, Cheyenne fell and cried out in pain. Adrian hid her reaction and casually asked if she was okay. That night, I waited at the place Cheyenne and I had agreed to meet. Instead, Adrian showed up. She was furious, accusing me of caring about her friend. She coldly told me to visit Cheyenne at the hospital and warned me to be careful before walking away. One afternoon, Adrian casually mentioned the lighthouse while talking to Amy, strongly implying that something had happened between us there. When I arrived, Adrian greeted me cheerfully, but I ignored her completely. The next day, I was horrified to find that the report from my interview with Robert was completely blank. I rushed home to retrieve a backup from my computer, only to discover that all my files had been erased. I immediately told Amy what had happened and admitted that I had just lost the most important report of my career. I asked her to cover for me with Michael while I rewrote everything from scratch, promising that once it was done, I would finally move out of the guest house. While moving around the house, I noticed a disc on the floor, which led me to a hidden door in the basement. Inside, I found my name written all over the walls, surrounded by candles and rosaries, arranged as if I were being worshipped. Shaken, I shut the door and went back to rewriting my report. Adrian kept calling me, but I ignored every call. After submitting the report to Michael, I started looking for a new place to live. I found a house owned by Mrs. Tinkerman, though I had to wait a week before I could move in. To celebrate, Amy brought over a bottle of wine. She invited me to our boss's party as her date, hinting that she wanted us to move forward. I kissed her, and we ended up spending the night together. Meanwhile, Adrian spent the day upset over me avoiding her. Later, she went to my room and was devastated to find me asleep beside Amy. I was later awakened by the sound of chopping from the neighboring house. When I saw Adrian, she simply smiled and said she was making lemonade. The next morning, Adrian confronted Amy and asked if she had slept with me. Amy coldly replied that Adrian's feelings would eventually fade, then walked away, leaving Adrian furious. The following day, Amy went into the darkroom to print a photo of us, unaware that Adrian had locked the door behind her. While sorting through the pictures, Amy came across a photo of Adrian, realizing she had been inside without permission. Before she could react, a swarm of bees was released into the room. Amy was badly injured and rushed to the hospital. When I found out, I was horrified. Not long after, Adrian showed up and invited me to watch her compete in an upcoming event. When she reached for my hand, I pulled away, and for the first time, I seriously suspected she was involved in what happened to Amy. On the day of the competition, Adrian searched for me, but I didn't show up because I was attending a work event. In the middle of my boss's speech, Adrian suddenly burst in and slapped me in front of everyone. I pulled her aside and told her it had to stop. I made it clear that I felt nothing for her and begged her to stay away from me. She started screaming, and people around us completely misunderstood what was happening. Later, I went to Mrs. Tinkerman's house to finalize my move, but she refused to let me stay, accusing me of being a drug dealer. I knew immediately that Adrian had spread the lie. When I got home, the police were waiting. They handcuffed me for allegedly assaulting a minor. Adrian had deliberately hurt herself, and everyone believed her story. I tried to explain that she had been harassing me, but no one listened. Traces of my DNA were found, and even when I tried to explain how she could have gotten it, no one believed me. Thanks to Michael, I was released temporarily. My lawyer told me Adrian's parents planned to take her away and advised me to pack up and leave as soon as possible. While I was packing, Cheyenne came to see me and told me something disturbing. She said Adrian had once been obsessed with another man who later died from poisoning. Everyone believed it was an accident, but Cheyenne was convinced Adrian was responsible and said the proof was written in her diary. I told her I'd inform my lawyer and urged her to go home. but she refused and instead went to Adrian's house to look for the diary. When I heard piano music coming from next door, I panicked and rushed over. I searched for Cheyenne and entered Adrian's room, where I saw candles arranged around my photograph again. Adrian appeared and accused me of having feelings for Cheyenne. I ignored her and kept searching. She attacked me and pushed me from the second floor. When I came to, I continued looking for Cheyenne. Cliff arrived soon after. I finally found Cheyenne tied to the merry-go-round in the attic. As I tried to free her, Adrian attacked me again. I managed to restrain her, but Cliff stepped in and turned on me. Just as he was about to kill me, Adrian knocked her own father unconscious. When she came at me again, I fought back and knocked her out. Weeks later, I was living quietly at Amy's place and had returned to work. She handed me a stack of letters, all from an obsessed admirer. Adrian was now confined to a psychiatric facility. As she wrote yet another letter addressed to me, her doctor entered the room. He was kind to her, and she seemed moved by his attention. After he left, she pulled out a photo she had secretly taken of him, already focused on someone new.